Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin with Web Show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you again for logging on and for tuning in. We need you to do one more thing before we get started. Just hit subscribe. You want to come back over and over again because we've got artists, authors, filmmakers, musicians. We've got creative minds of all kinds on the Hangin with Web Show. Right now, we are at Space Coast Book Lovers in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and we are hanging out with author J.C. Layne, the author of, among other things, Finding Their Rhythm. J.C., thanks for hanging out with us today.
Appreciate it.
All right, so tell us about Finding Their Rhythm.
Okay, so I have a Rockstar romance series, and Finding Their Rhythm is the newest release, which is actually the first prequel of how my two main characters grew up together.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so
so we've got some stories that have already been told out there, and you know, now readers are going to get to peek in at where this came from.
Correct, yes.
That is fantastic.
So they grew up together, and they're more like brothers than friends, and so they both play very major characters in the rest of the books.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the series a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, where did you start off? How long have you been writing professionally?
So this is my third year.
Okay.
I guess almost right at 3 years. And I started with Rockstar Romance because formerly and I still do, interview bands for music magazines.
Awesome.
So I started out being able to interview them, and you learn a lot about their personalities, and you learn a lot about things that you're very surprised. They surprise you pretty much every time you interview them.
People tend to do that.
Yes, they do.
Well,
so,
you know, we all go into an interview environment or even a relationship with a preconceived notion of who we're about to meet or talk to.
Exactly, yes.
And when you're able to sit one-on-one and have an honest conversation, it never ceases to be surprising.
True.
How different a person is from that preconception that you
very
walk in
true.
with.
Yes.
And that's actually one of the things I think that makes your genre so much fun to write in.
Yes, it
because
does.
you get to dive into those personalities and things that people don't necessarily think about. They see an image, or they see a type of music or whatever, and then you get to dive into kind of a character behind that and show them that this is a person.
It is,
another human being to connect with.
One other thing about my rock stars is they are in their 40s. So they have been around a while. They're not just your typical, 20-year-olds that most people think Rockstar Romance is about. So mine have been through all of the stuff that goes along with being a rock star, and they're sort of ready to settle down and kind of move forward in their lives.
We refer to that as the mature romance.
Exactly.
Because that's from midlife on.
Exactly.
Where the sort of the pomp and circumstance of romance is started to, it's tarnished a little bit by life and age and experience.
Right, exactly.
And you get to write that from a rock star's perspective, which is really nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, who are the main characters that we follow through the series typically?
The main characters are Jess, who is the production assistant. My books, the series itself, take place in a music studio so far. It will move out in the next book, which is out at the end of next month. But Jess Harper is the main character. She is a production assistant at Peach Buzz Studios in Atlanta. And she works with Brett Winters, who is actually the owner of Peach Buzz Studios. So Brett's best friend Mitch is coming home to Atlanta to write his own music again.
Okay.
So he comes home, he sees Jess, he's like, woo, okay, I'm done.
And there you go.
And there you go.
And hijinks ensue, which is what writers love.
Yes.
Because we love to share hijinks.
Yes.
Series name. What is the name of the series?
The name of the series is Back on Track.
Okay.
Series. So I tried to use
Little
music
terms,
as much as I could.
Nice.
And like I said, there are 2 books so far, and book 3 will be out the end of next month. And book 2 ended on a very, it was positive, but they went through a lot of stuff to get to there. So So this is sort of the aftermath of what they dealt with in book 2.
Now, there's a big difference between journalism and
yes,
fiction writing, okay?
Yes.
And so what was that transition like for you, from doing magazine articles and things like that to being an author, and how was that transition?
I mean, I've read my whole life. I've enjoyed reading, and enjoyed talking to people, obviously, like, to interview you, kind of like, and that's what I do.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of keep going, right? So,
amen to that.
So it was sort of, I guess, kind of cathartic almost, changing over from going to real life into fiction. So I don't think it was too hard. It took me a while to kind of change gears and like look at it from a different perspective, but
well, so much of what we do in our journalism lives is about boiling down
yes.
This massive story into 18 inches or
Yes.
25 inches
Yes.
for a magazine, and then you find yourself with this unlimited canvas,
Right.
where you can say,
True,
hey,
very
I can
true.
play with story, I can do the who, what, where, when, but now I've got the time and space to do the why.
Exactly.
And that's so much of the difference between the journalistic side
Right.
and the fiction side is, when you read a magazine article, there's a lot of who and
Yes.
a lot of what and
Yes.
where, but we don't get into the why
That's
because
right.
it's too rich.
That's very true.
People are so deep.
That's
and
very
so
right.
it's neat to be able to flex those muscles a little bit.
That's right, yes.
And probably one of the most important questions for a fiction writer, why? Why do people do the things that they do?
That's true.
And that kind of thing. So are there any of your articles or any of the bands that you met or whatever that you found particularly inspirational while you were putting together your characters?
Well, my Mitch character is based on an actual rock star, so I don't know if I should. He's based on a band member that I enjoyed, just from a looks perspective.
Okay.
I don't know about the personality, but I did interview this person, so sort of some of that feeds
Drew
into
that,
it as
yeah.
well. Yeah, but.
Well, your experiences inform
Yes.
the writing, so there's
Yes.
a little bit of all the people that you meet.
Exactly.
In your characters.
That's a very
I was just wondering
true
if there was
statement.
somebody that like kind of stood out as, hey, a lot of that came through, a lot of that bled through.
I've
time to
interviewed a
time?
lot. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said. That's a very good way to put it. There are many people that feed into the personalities.
I think
You take a little bit of
character is
this, a little bit of this.
Largely, a character becomes an amalgamation of
Yes.
real people.
Exactly. Yes.
It's not one real person. It's that one character is 17 real people that you've
Yes.
met, all mashed into this
Yes.
interest. Because let's face it, most of us are pretty dull. So
Yes, we are.
It takes 4 or 5 of us to make a character.
Exactly.
And make it a dynamic character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually the Brett character is based on one of my favorite musicians, who has he still does music, but he has become a producer. So that's kind of where the inspiration for the music studio setting has come from.
Awesome.
So-
Okay, well, you write rockstar romances.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you're a music, and you write for a music magazine, so you're a
True.
music fan.
Yes.
Okay. What's on the playlist? What's on the writing playlist?
Actually, every one of my books has a playlist in the back.
Okay. What about you when you're writing?
I listen to the playlist.
That playlist
Yes.
there. That's what
Yes,
brings it forward.
It
Okay.
does. And the music kind of fits the mood or the tone of the
of the story.
Yeah. So actually, book one has a serenade sort of scene, and all of the songs that he used are on the playlist. So
That is pretty
things like
awesome.
that. Yeah.
That is pretty awesome.
And I'm kind of old school, Beatles, Elvis Presley, stuff like that.
If you're going to be old school, that's the way to go.
That's
come
right.
on. She just hit the top.
Whoop, whoop.
She's like,
That's
whoa.
right.
Okay, so have you ever been sort of sitting there at the house, song pops on, and there it is. There's a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What nearest recollection? What was the last song that just said, I got to write that. I'm going to do that.
To Make You Feel My Love, Bob Dylan song,
Yeah.
remade by Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
So that's the version I kind of like. But
Wow.
that song, I was like, that's what's going to happen. So,
Nice.
and that plays a major role in the second book.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so that was kinda cool.
It really is. Well, we talk a lot to different kinds of creative artists, and one of the things that I like to note for our audience is that, it takes us 300 pages
Yes.
to tell a story. These guys can do it in 3 to 4 minutes.
It's amazing.
And I mean, if you take 300 pages and you get the audiobook guy to come in and start working with you,
Yes.
that's a 4-hour read,
That's
right?
right, yes.
And so 4 hours of reading to tell our story.
Yes.
And these guys go out there and in 4 minutes make us laugh and cry. And if anything,
It's
if we're as
amazing.
writers, if there's anything we aspire to, is to be as good at delivering a single
Exactly.
phrase
Yes.
as a songwriter.
Yes.
Because they are amazing at doing that, you know.
It is amazing. Yes.
So To Make You Feel My Love, that's the second. That is inspiration for the second book.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Let me see your playlist. We got to check this out.
Okay.
What is the playlist for this?
If I can find it.
Yeah. See, this is awesome, guys. When you pick up these books, you're going to go to the links down below. You're going to kind of smash one of them and go on over to Amazon and check this out. But see,
I'll let you do
as
it.
as you read through this, I got old eyes. So as you read through this, though, you might want to go and load the iPod up here.
Correct,
okay?
yes.
And the soundtrack to this book is already real people, real musicians have actually already done the soundtrack to this book. So we have Cherry Pie.
Yes. Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
There you go.
Very good.
Coming of Age. Nice. The Rockefeller Skank.
Skank. Yeah.
I'm not, that one I don't know. Wait, The Cure though, Friday I'm in Love. Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. Baby Got Back.
So this
I
takes
don't
place
even know
in the
where
90s.
we're at in the book yet, but I'm just saying. Okay. When a Man Loves a Woman. Okay, yes. Lola. Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. This is how we do it. See, I haven't read this book yet. But I am now. I want to. Let's see. High Enough, Another Night, November Rain, More Than Words, Extreme.
Yeah.
End of the Road, Boys to Men. Wow, this is very eclectic.
It is. So
Your playlist, your iPod, like iTunes doesn't know. You know how every time iTunes will say, if you liked, you'll like this.
Yes.
iTunes doesn't make suggestions to JC because they have no idea. They're like, dude, she's all over the place.
it's just coming from where it comes from.
That is
so.
awesome.
So
really.
just keep in mind, though, this book was when they were growing up. So it was in the 90s. And so some of the funky stuff is because they played a prom.
Oh, well,
So-
that stands to reason. That stands to reason.
Yeah.
Guys, we've been hanging out with JC Layne, the author of Finding Their Rhythm. We're going to drop links down below so you can find JC and all of her books online. In the meantime, we have to say thanks to our partners and our friends at Krypton Radio, Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida, the Foxwood Wine Company, because these chairs are really cozy.
Those are nice.
We love that. Embellish Effects, the Cogler Emporium, our great friend Josh Bauer at J. Bauer Art Indie Originals, Space Coast Comics, and of course our great friends Rick Shea and his team over at Famous Faces and Funnies. Thank you guys for sharing these videos on the World Wide Web. We hope that you will do the same. And just remember, guys, over and over again, stay tuned in and stay logged on because you never know who we're hanging with next.
Thank you.
All right, JC,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.